Welcome to the Liberty Watchdog Network, a highly enlightening show that discusses America's founding principles and how they still apply today. Learn what our government was intended to be, how it has gotten out of control, and what you can do about it. The Constitution is in crisis. If you are a concerned American about the direction of this country, then you are not alone and must tune in every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can't defend what you don't know. Learn it or lose it. Please be sober-minded that what we are about to share will be shocking to you. I am your Son of the American Revolution host and LibertyWatchdog.com founder, Nate Green. So let's explore our nation's founding principles of liberty. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is January 10th, 2018. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you had a wonderful holiday, great Christmas, and now we're into 2018. So we want to start off with some topics of the day. U.S. District Judge Gloria Navarro ruled that the case against Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy, his two sons, and a supporter will be dismissed with prejudice, which means Bundy cannot be tried again on the same charges. Navarro also ordered that the rancher be set free. The basis for the dismissal of this case is the federal prosecutors hid evidence during the 2017 trial that would have shown that he was innocent of the charges brought against him. In trial, prosecutors ridiculed Bundy's claim that government snipers were in position during the confrontation, and they hid a video of FBI snipers monitoring the Bundy Ranch even prior to the BLM raid. Prosecutors withheld a federal assessment of the Bundys, declaring them to be unlikely to engage in violence, and they hid other federal assessments that revealed the BLM actually was trying to provoke a violent conflict to justify harsh action against the Bundys. George Soros exposed as an agent of the Rothschild and British oligarchy. This investigative report, written in 1996 by F. William Engdahl, explains how George Soros amassed his fortune through deception and manipulation, that he is the front man for the elites known as the Club of Isles, who literally rule the world. The Rothschilds and a network of wealthy British and European oligarchs centered around the House of Windsor funded George Soros' first hedge fund, and he is the visible arm of their operations. He funds political movements covertly through foundations and has never made a major investment without inside information. Time magazine has characterized financier George Soros as a modern-day Robin Hood who robs from the rich to give to the poor countries of Eastern Europe and Russia. It claimed that Soros makes huge financial gains by speculating against Western central banks in order to use his profits to help the emerging post-communist economies of Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union, to assist them to create what he calls an open society. The Times statement is entirely accurate in the first part and entirely inaccurate in the second. He robs from rich Western countries and uses his profits to rob even more savagely from East and under the cloak of philanthropy. His goal is to loot wherever and however and whomever he can. Soros has been called the master manipulator of hit-and-run capitalism. And yet, ladies and gentlemen, this guy that also funds and helps fund the Council on Foreign Relations and about 200 other organizations that he actually controls is nothing more than a complete wolf in sheep's clothing. In fact, his original name was Schwartz, his last name. That's right, he was a Jew. He was born Jewish and actually later became part of the Hitler Youth when he was young. So he's a bad dude. Nothing tied to Soros is good. And this man has funded both sides of the aisle in America to perpetuate his goal for globalism. So if you've been following the past few shows, you've probably learned something, I hope. Learned about some of the 101 constitutional questions that we at Liberty Watchdog ask in our constitutional boot camp class. And so we've already covered from 1 through 6, and today we're going to cover 7, 8, and 9 of the 101 constitutional questions. And I also challenge you to go back, listen to the previous shows that we've had, and to get further educated and share what we're talking about here with your friends, your family, to get them educated to the founding principles of our country. So today, let's start with question 7. What are some of the other inalienable rights besides what everybody says they are? Okay. Because the last show you learned about some of the basic inalienable rights that are essential for the pursuit of happiness. And so what are some of the other inalienable rights, God-given rights that we have? The inalienable rights of mankind include such things as the right of self-government, the right of human beings to beget their own kind, the right of parents to rear their children free from outside interference, unless there is a criminal abuse or neglect, the right to freedom of belief, the right to freedom of speech, the right to assemble, the right to petition or redress our grievances, the right to change residence or one's job, etc. These are just some of the other inalienable rights that we take for granted in this country. Number 8, what is the purpose of government? Ask yourself, what's the purpose of government? The founders said the basic reason for creating a government is to protect the inalienable rights of the people. The government is to provide liberty under law. Under what law, though, you might ask? Under God's law, the Declaration, the Constitution, which is synonymous with the law of this land, which means that no law should be passed unless it is specifically designed to protect the freedom, liberty, and well-being of the people. Pretty simple, folks. And that's going to lead us to part of that same question of what I ask students and have asked members of Congress. So what is the proper role of government? And this is important to know. This is vital for every American to know. That the founders were very clear that the government only has the authority to do what the people have authority to do, according to God or Christ's natural law of liberty. After all, it is the people who give the government its authority. And since people only have authority to protect their God-given inalienable rights, that is all the authority they can delegate to government. People do not have authority to take from some and give to others, or even to regulate the affairs of other people without their consent. So government has no legitimate right to do such things. And obviously, since today we don't follow this proper role of government, it has completely become out of the scope and usurped the liberties that we initially started back in 1776. So that leads us to question 9. And this is where we now will begin the American structure of government. What is a democracy? Does anybody know? I mean, you always hear politicians, you hear presidents, you hear teachers, professors call this country a democracy. Well, they're completely mistaken. It's not a democracy. Founders warned against democracy. Democracy's mob rule. A democracy is a government wherein decisions are made by the masses of the people rather than the elected representatives. There's a big difference. And that's why we had some wise individuals back in the 1700s that knew and studied history and knew that democracies always fail. Democracies lead to socialism, communism, fascism. And when you take away the ability for the people to use their representation to uphold the law of the land, and that means when it becomes a democracy, it's just at the whims of opinion. So it's not a good thing. So next week we're going to delve more into what was America intended to be as we explore questions 10, 11, and 12 and talk more about some other news that's happening right now, real time, that you're not going to hear from the Mongols of media just because it's controlled. 7 major corporations control everything you see, hear, and touch. And we're here to fill in the gap for you. I challenge you to become a Liberty Watchdog member. We need your help so we can educate America. Please visit libertywatchdog.com and be part of our Patriot Radio partners. We need your help so that we can reach our fellow citizens to educate them on the vital principles of freedom so we can pass it on to our posterity. I'm Nate Green. Look forward to seeing you at our next show. May God bless you, and may God bless America.